If you want a big and imposing limousine, then you really are spoilt for choice. If you want the very best BMW money can buy, there's the 7 Series. If you want British, there's the Jaguar XJ. Lexus will sell you the LS, and there's even the Maserati Quattroporte. Remember that? Audi has just reinvented its A8 and stuffed it with some of the best technology available on the market. And why do they all do this? Well, they all want to do this because they want to beat the technological tour de force that has ruled the roost for the last 40 years, the Mercedes S-Class.
To the untrained eye, this looks no different to the old S-Class. But look closely and you'll spot the new headlamps that now have 3 day running light bars and the rear lamps that are slightly different. And if you're really geeky, you'll have spotted that this S500, and indeed all S-Classes, get the old S-Class V12's grille with its extra chrome. Subtle the changes may be, but you're left in no doubt this is the chairman's boardroom Benz.
Up front, and the changes are also very few and far between. The most obvious change is the new steering wheel. Not only does it look very bling, but there are new controls on it. They're touch sensitive like you find in the E-Class, and the cruise control, which used to be on a stalk that protruded from the steering column, is now on the right hand spoke. Now in front of you, you've got 2 12.5-inch screens. That's nothing new, I know, but now they're behind a 1 sheet of glass, and it does look a lot crisper, I have to say. Now it's hooked up to Mercedes' command system. It's controlled with this rotary knob down here and the touchpad here. Now it works just as well as the BMW iDrive system in the 7 Series, and it's a lot easier to use on the move compared to the Audi A8, which has 2 touchscreens in front of you, and it's a bit difficult to prod them when you're on the move. Storage-wise, well, your chauffeur is not going to have any problems storing all of your oddments because there's lots and lots of cubbies in here. Starting off with this glove box, well, it's not really a glove box, but this compartment under here. You can open it this side as well, if you want to. There you can store your phone. There's a couple of USB charging ports as well, one of which connects your phone to the Apple CarPlay and the Android Auto, both of those come as standard on the S-Class. If we slide this back, there's a couple of cup holders as well. There's a nice little well-damped drawer there as well. There's the glove box, which is also very large, as you'd expect. We've also got the air freshener system in here, and it pumps fragrance through the air vents, and it's very nice indeed. And the door bins are very large, in fact. You can easily fit the Carbuyer large water bottle in there. Now, this particular car, the trim is very sober, but you can sort of glam things up a little bit with different coloured leathers, different veneers, and you can almost make the interior feel as special or as glam and as interesting as the Lexus LS. The only last thing to mention is the quality, because it is exquisite in here. Everything you touch is either leather covered or it's some of the finest quality plastics this side of a Rolls-Royce Phantom. And the other thing I just want to mention is the design. Now, newer Mercedes models like the E-Class have all tried to copy the dashboard design, but there's something about the S-Class. It all seems to work beautifully in here. And the most important thing is that this car feels very special. More special than the BMW 7 Series and Audi A8. I'll leave that up to you, but for me, Mercedes wins.
Choosing your S-Class is just as relaxing as the interior. There's just one model of the regular S-Class. AMG line is very well specified with multi-beam LED headlights that, like the matrix lights in an Audi A8, allow you to drive at night with your full beams on without dazzling oncoming cars. There's also active parking assist with a reversing camera, electric front seats with memory, 64 colour ambient lighting, Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and wireless phone charging. There are also 2 AMG models which add extra sporty styling, a fantastic Burmester surround sound system and Napa leather seats, while at the very top of the range is the Maybach S650 model. But that's so exclusive, we'll save that for another time.
Now it's back here where most people will be enjoying the S-Class life, and I have to say, despite new arrivals coming along, the Mercedes still feels the most special. Now there are a number of different interior packages you can go for. We've got a few of them here, so let me run through the highlights. Now if you spend £4,600 on the standard S models and on the S63, you get this rear executive package. It's standard on the S65, and you really do have to go for it if you intend on chauffeuring people round. Why? Well, you get this drop-down armrest that has a couple of really natty cup holders. There's a space under there with some USB charging ports as well. But the big thing is, though, the seats, they recline by 37 degrees, and you also get all the different blinds, and you get the blinds that at the back, you get the one that comes across there and the one here, so you can shut out the paparazzi if you so wish. There's another package which costs £6,000. Now it gives you 2 individual rear seats with a large centre console that runs down the middle, and it's very posh indeed. You also get 2 sort of tables that spring out from the centre console as well. And you can also spend another £4,600 on the TV package, and we've got it here. You've got 2 TV screens. There's this remote controller to control the 2 screens, as you would expect. There's also a pair of headphones as well. But the best thing about this package is that this seat transforms into the seat you tend to find on a first class jet, or in business class at least. Now, if you press the lie flat button, you've got all the controls on the door here. There's so many actually. You could actually get lost in the world of seat articulation. Now that seat in front of me is now slid forwards, the headrest is popping down, so I've still got a view of the road in front of me. And now eventually, it's a bit of a slow process, I do have to say, my seat will start to slide forwards. And here we go, sliding forwards very, very elegantly. And the cushion starts to come up, taking the weight off my feet, and I can just lie here and just let the driver do all the work. See what I mean about S-Class life? It really is the best, isn't it?
Boot room very much depends on which model of S-Class you go for, but they all tend to hover around the 500 litre mark, which is around average for this type of car. Let's say there's more than enough space for carrying those suitcases for your VIP customers.
Now the really big changes to the S-Class has been found under the bonnet, because Mercedes has replaced all of the 3-litre V6s with new straight-six 3 litres. And that's all done in an effort to make them cleaner and more fuel efficient. So the range kicks off with the S350D that has a 3-litre straight-six diesel pushing out 282 brake horsepower and emits 153 grams per kilometre of CO2. Now in that car you can expect high 40s for MPG, which for a car like this is pretty good. There's also another diesel, an S400D, which gets the same engine but with more power, and there's a new 4-litre twin-turbo V8 for the S63 AMG. Topping out the range is the S65 AMG and the S650 Maybach. Both of those get a fabulous twin-turbo 6-litre V12. Now, if the V12 petrols are a little bit too vulgar for you, Mercedes will sell you some straight-six petrols. Starting off with the S400, that gets a 3-litre straight-six petrol, which pushes out 363 brake horsepower, but is also mated to an electric motor, an electric compressor that has 22 brake horsepower. Effectively, it's a mild hybrid. There's also an S500, it's the car we've got here. Now the 500 badge is a little bit fabled in the world of Mercedes-Benz ownership, because by driving an S500 you're telling the world you have a V8 petrol under the bonnet. It is the cream of the cream, really. However, times change, because just like the S400, this also gets a 3-litre straight-six petrol with an electric motor. This time round you get 429 brake horsepower. Combined with that 22 brake horsepower electric motor, this thing isn't short of grunt. Now that smaller engine with the electric motor means that pickup acceleration is a lot quicker, is a lot faster than it was in the old V8 S500. But there is something fabulous about the old S500 with that wonderful engine under the bonnet. Now Mercedes will say this car is a lot cleaner, it's a lot more fuel efficient than the old S500, but we've been getting in the low 30s, which I remember driving an old S500 a few years ago and I wasn't getting that much worse fuel economy than this. So whilst Mercedes will convince you that times change and it's all lovely and much better these days, I'm not convinced.
No big car rides as well as the S-Class. It's easily the most supple and comfortable limousine on sale. Well, it is if you go for the standard wheels, opt for the admittedly smarter, larger wheels, and the ride gets a little too choppy. Handling wise, well, a BMW 7 Series and a Jaguar XJ will outmaneuver the S-Class on a twisty piece of road, but for the most part the S-Class is good enough. It manages to have a composure that few can topple.
Now I go back to my opening question. If you really do want a big, special limo, you really are spoiled for choice. But the S-Class still remains head and shoulders above the competition. Why? Well, there's a few simple reasons. There's something very special about driving a car with that three-pointed star at the end of the bonnet. I don't know what it is. I don't know whether it's that get out of my way, I'm more important than you. I don't know what it is. I really don't know, but there is just something very different from the competition. Also, the S-Class rides and drives like nothing else in the class. Now we've got the standard 19-inch wheels on this car, and coupled with air suspension, the ride on this car is silky, silky smooth. It's almost as good as something like a Bentley or a Rolls-Royce, seriously. And yes, whilst a Jaguar XJ or a BMW 7 Series will excite you a little bit more in the corners, this is good enough. The steering is accurate enough. It goes where you want it to. The engine is powerful, and the whole thing is just wrapped up in the most glorious, wonderful limousine experience.
So there we have it then. While BMW, Lexus and Audi have launched all new cars since this generation of S-Class launched back in 2013, the Big Benz is still the best. Nothing can quite beat the S-Class's blend of absolute luxury and appealing personality. It's still right at the top of the class. Like this video? Well, give it a thumbs up and watch my Audi A8 video review. And make sure you subscribe to the channel by pressing the Carbuyer logo. Thanks for watching.